Alright, guys. So, sorry it's been a couple months since I've posted on a meaningful topic, and this isn't to bash Steven Crowder or the Daily Wire or anything, but contract negotiation isn't exactly what I come here to talk about. That being said, going back to the video in question, where I asked at the end of the video, what is it about free speech that we can't move past and talk to each other? Nobody answered. Nobody that viewed answered my question at the end. So either you're not watching to the end or you just, didn't want to answer, which is fine. I'd like to see a little more engagement, but at the same time, it is what it is. So I'm going to answer, at least from my perspective, on what it is about the hard topics that we don't want to actually have discussions. The real issue is nobody respects anybody. If you don't share similar ideology, and I mean similar like to the nth degree, you are automatically for the other side. You're automatically against whatever the opposition or whatever your side is opposed to. Take, for example, J.K. Rowling. The moment that she switched from being entirely, supportive of transgender ideology, she became a TERF. She's no longer progressive enough. No matter what she does, she's no longer capable of being progressive in the eyes of today's progressives. And yet, she's neither conservative, nor alt-right, nor any of that. She's more attuned to liberalism or classical liberalism, but she's still left of that even. So, there's that. And then from my personal experience, anecdotally, just having humped into Twitter debates with people, and debates, that's a very loose term. Recently, I hopped into a thread where people were calling Steve McRae a jackass, or his ass, in regards to his acknowledging that somebody else's analogy about Michael Knowles' speech is an apt comparison. However, to a couple other people, Steve's actions were, or his comments on Twitter were akin to basically supporting Michael Knowles. That as Michael Knowles would say, he wants to end transgenderism, eradicate it. He's not necessarily talking about the people. He's talking about some of the ideological framework of it. But I can understand why, and I have watched the speech several times over, and I understand where Ansgar Aronson and Dave McGinnis are coming from. And I don't find their opinion on this to be entirely wrong. I could understand and fully support their belief that this is what he is calling for. But I also can see the other side, in that it's not necessarily wanting to exterminate or extinguish people or their lives. It is maybe not allowing ideologies to progress to a point where all words have no meaning. So there's that. Now, block me if you want, Ansgar, Dave, whoever else. I really don't care. But at least wait till the end of the video before you do that. Because ultimately I think what the issue is, and I should have looked up her name because it's like my fourth take on this. I should have looked up her name, but I'll put it up here in this general area along with her video. I watched a video today of a young black British lady. That's what it sounds like to me, and what you see with her on the screen. The point being, she encapsulates the whole idea, the idea of why people are leaving the left, and it's not so much that they're leaving the left as it is the left leaving them. And it's the concept of the fact that we are getting to a point where you can't be somebody without including everybody else. That is to say, if I were a gay man, and I only exclusively dated gay men, but a woman came along who claims to be a trans woman, trans man, pardon the slip there, a trans man, but hasn't gone through the necessary surgeries to fully transition, and expects me to have intercourse, traditional intercourse with, with a vagina and everything, that's no longer gay sex. That's normal, conventional, hetero sex. It's understandable why people will feel like, if you don't date trans whatever equivalent to what your sexual orientation is, I can understand why people would consider it trans. I hate using the word transphobic, because phobia is more of a rational fear than it is actually hate. But why people would be trans haters of other people because, have you slept with somebody of that? Have you slept with somebody like that? No, I haven't. I haven't slept with a trans man. I haven't slept with a trans woman, and I probably never will. Not because I'm transphobic or a trans hater. I'm actually happily married to a cis hetero woman. So why screw up a relationship that I actually love and have? That being said, I can also understand why people come to the conclusion that, this transgenderism is an ideology and it's going way too far and it's carrying on. And how it is what it is, it's just being in the middle of these two extremes. I can see both sides, understand their arguments, and realize that no, transgender people need to exist. They have a right to exist. They have, every right to exist because they are human. But at the same time, I also understand that in the sense that, if we let this continue on, we're going to get to a point where words have no meaning. Where, I hate to bring in Matt Walsh, but, what is a woman? What is a man? And you can't get a straight answer out of people because the word has lost its meaning. Yes, I understand gender is a social construct. Gender is something that we made up. But we also have tied gender to the biological sexes as well. So it's not something that we can just eradicate and expect everybody to move on with. It's also not something that we can just accept that it's wholly this as well. We have to find the right balance between the people and the arguments. The same for any politically invasive topic. January 6th. All rioters, everybody that was there should be prosecuted as insurrectionists, things like that. Yet, on one side of the building, you can clearly see that it was a riot and protest and things like that, like violent. And on the other side of the building, peaceful people actually being let in by the cops. So, down granted, the cops don't have to stop you from committing a crime, But at the same time, you have to look at it from the perspective of the lay person who doesn't know much about the law, and be like, oh, well, if the police are letting these people in, then I should be able to go in too. It's like, it would be like, for example, hey, come in my house and I'm going to beat you, but on the sign on my fence it says, by the way, if you trespass, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. I shouldn't be able to just invite you in and then beat the crap out of you just because of my sign. No. Now, if you break in and enter, there are consequences. So, this is why I'm torn on, Ashley Babbitt. On one point, my military training and everything says, yep, she deserved to be shot because she was breaking in, and you can see that the officers are telling them not to. Well, if an officer has his gun out and people are trying to break in, I would probably not be there. I probably wouldn't want to be there. But at the same time, I do feel for her. I do feel for her family. But again, it's not always the rhetoric on one side or the other. It's a combination of both, and people not disengaging from the extremes. And so, where do we get to a point where we can have respectful conversations? Where do we get to a point where we can respect each other and understand that we are all equal under the law? And I think that's another issue, and that's one that we're going to have to talk about eventually. But what is it about equality that is the issue? And that'll be the question. What is the issue with equality? What is it that we truly want? Do we want equality of outcome, where everybody is the same? Top to bottom, left to right, we are all equal. Or do we want some freedom and some choice? Do you think somebody that with the basketball skills of a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James, a Larry Bird, a John Stockton, these high caliber players for their times, do you think they would be content to sit there and work at a convenience store, work at a grocery store, work at Walmart, work in a factory somewhere? Or should they have the freedom to do what they want and pursue, and maybe they do fail? There are so many things I have tried and failed at, and yet I sit here and keep coming back. I sit here and keep trying to have these conversations. And it's that persistence that will eventually, one day, I'll get put up somewhere. Whether it's, just a local beat paper, whether it's just a local blog, whether it's just this, and I barely eke out an income from it, if I ever make money doing this. But that's the point of equal opportunity, is trying. So, which is it? Which would you prefer? Equal outcome or equal opportunity? So, with that, I ask you to take care, and please leave a comment with the answer to the question. Are you team equal outcome, or are you team equal opportunity? And even throw in your thoughts on free speech. As I said in the last video, I'm up to the point where it's actual where a criminal charge can be laid against somebody. I'm all for free speech. So with that, take care as always, and have a great day, and peace.